I've seen this a lot with folks moving from Elementor to Bricks and Oxygen and other more developer-oriented builders. There's this tendency to use Elementor's style of building columns and rows instead of using CSS grid. So what you typically will see is you've got a section here, you got a container here, and then let's say we've got, I don't know, a list of services that each have an icon, service title, and then a little description here. And I'll see them grouped in rows like this. There's a couple things that this does. First of all, it makes it harder to mobile optimize because you have to now treat each one of these rows. You can only manipulate those rows. You can't manipulate the entire group. So in this example here, let's throw on another one here. So now we have 12 items. So 12 can be divided up a couple of different ways. You could have a row of 4, you could have a row of 3, you could have a row of 2, you could have a row of 6. But if you've got them in these rows where each row has 3 items, that's it. That's all that you are ever going to have with those rows. So I have this set to display grid with basically 3 evenly spaced cards in the grid, right? So 1 FR, 1 fractional unit. But if I go down to a smaller screen size and I say, you know what, that's getting a little crowded here. I want to drop it down and make it 2. All right, let's make it 2. 1 FR, 1 FR. Now look at the problem that we have. Now we have a blank space here. So even if I go here and go 1 FR, 1 FR, I'm always going to have a blank space here. So the only thing that I can do with this group here is I could go 1, which might be fine all the way down here on the mobile portrait, but maybe at this size or even at this size, maybe up here I want to have 4 across. I can't do it. So first of all, mobile optimization, adjusting the screen size, is going to get all out of whack because you have these 12 items, but you've pre-grouped them in groups of 3 or groups of 4 or whatever. You cannot change that grouping. The other thing, the other semantic problem here is that this is really, let me get rid of this. This whole section here, this is really an unordered list. This is an unordered list of items. And each of these items should be, let's see, let me make sure I've got the right item here. Each of these should be an LI. Just semantically, each one of these items is a list item, and they're in an unordered list. Now, where I put that, oops, did I put it on the wrong spot? Yeah, right here. This container contains an unordered list. But now look, between the unordered list and the actual list items, I've got these 2 things. I may have put that on the wrong spot. I put that on the wrong spot. It's here on the card level. This is an LI. This whole card is an LI. But I've got this interrupting that flow. And on top of that, I now have I have this grouping of LI items, and then this is going to be a grouping of LIs, and this is going to be a grouping of LIs. So within this UL, you should only have LIs, right? That should be the next hierarchical level down. And now that's broken. So what we would do instead, let's throw our section on here. Bricks means that it comes with a container already. That's handy. And we're going to add a block, and then inside that block, we're going to add, by the way, don't use the icon card or the icon element. This icon box, don't use that. Just build them yourself. You got more flexibility if you build them yourself. So we've got an icon, and then let's see, we had a heading and a description. So we are gonna group those together, right? Because we want to be able to treat those separately. So here we have the card, not a CAD. We have the card, and we're going to set that like that. And now let's go. Is that everything that we need? Yeah. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at all those cards. Now up here at the container level, we're going to go to flex grid, and we're going to go 1FR, 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 and it looks like I miscounted, or is it just not rendered yet? Where's all my cards? All my cards haven't shown up yet. But this kind of goes to my point here. Even if we only had 8, then this grid is still going to lay out correctly, and it's going to hold that spot. And if you add another card, it's going to fill it in there. I'm not 100% sure why they're just not showing up. Bricks is just crapping out on me here. But now I've got this 1FR. If I went 4 across, look, done. It's already there, right? I don't have that the row block interfering with my ability to control this. So then if I go down here and I want, let's say at this size, I want 3 across, and here I want 2 across, and all the way down here I want 1 across. Fine, we can do that, and we have the flexibility to change that on the fly whenever we want to without having to move things in and out of rows. Now, by the way, I know I'm putting 1FR. I'm doing this longhand. We could do, what is it? Repeat 4, 1FR. Yeah, there you go. So you could do that, and then now it's even easier to change. You just change that. There you go. So look at there. Bonus tip. So that's how easy it is to manipulate things in. Let me get back to this. Is now a UL, and now each of these cards, we should have done this before I clone them all out. We're going to create that as an LI. So now these are all LIs contained within a UL, and there's nothing interfering in between there. So semantically, screen readers are going to have an easier time reading this. Google's going to have an easier time understanding that this is one unordered list. All of these go together, right? These are all of a like kind. So lots of different advantages there. Also, let's just talk about flexibility. We have a grid here. We're going to go 50 pixels wide, right? And we've got that control here. If you were doing the rows, you would have to go to the container and set your row gap, but then go inside the row block to set the column gap. If you're just using grid and it's all grouped together, then you put it here. And then when you go down here, if you say, you know what, that's too much space at this spot, we're going to drop it down. Now, because this is a UL, we're getting this little bit of spacing here. That's topic for a different time. But you can see that we've got that even spacing here. And here, let's say, now that we're down to 1, we want to jump back up and have wider spacing, or we want to have it even smaller spacing. Then you have that control, and it's affecting the whole list instead of, oops, I need to adjust my spacing. Now I got to go to each row and adjust the column and adjust the, go to the container to adjust the rows. If you're just doing the one grid within the one container, you control all of it in one place. So it's semantically better. It's more mobile responsive. It's more flexible. It's just a better way of doing things. There's less things to manage. So that's just something I've noticed with a lot of developers coming from Elementor into Bricks. I didn't spend as much time in Elementor, so I didn't get used to that workflow. But it is what Elementor wants you to do. They sort of force you into using these column blocks and these row blocks and different things like that. If you just treat everything, everything's a div, everything's a box, and then you use flex or grid to put them where you want them, and use the power of CSS that Bricks is going to make you learn as you get into Bricks. So hope that helps.